I used to think heartbreak came slowly, like a gradual fading of color, a quiet drifting apart, a series of small misunderstandings that eventually broke two people. But mine didn't. Mine arrived in a single moment, a single sentence, a single betrayal. And it all began the evening I walked into the courtyard behind the college library, holding the small velvet box I had kept for months. It wasn't a ring, just a simple necklace, delicate and meaningful. Something I had bought long before I had enough money to be buying gifts. Something I thought she'd treasure. I never imagined I'd watch her hand it back to me, because she chose my adopted sister instead. The sun had already set when I found her sitting on the stone bench. Her hair flowed down like a curtain of shadows, and she looked beautiful even under the dull yellow lights. She smiled when she saw me. Or at least she pretended to. "Hey," she said softly, brushing her hair behind her ear. "You said you wanted to talk?" My heart raced. I had rehearsed my words 100 times. How I felt, what she meant to me, where I wanted our relationship to go. I didn't expect the whole script to burn before it even started. "Yeah," I said, sitting beside her. "There's something I've wanted to say for a long time." But before I could speak, I noticed something strange. She wasn't making eye contact. Her fingers kept tapping together nervously. Her foot wouldn't stay still. She wasn't waiting for my confession. She was preparing for something else. "Before you say anything," she exhaled, I need to tell you something first." My heart dropped, but I kept my expression steady. "Okay," I whispered. She swallowed hard, gathering courage. "It's about us." "Us," I repeated, my voice hollow. She nodded. "I think we shouldn't continue, whatever this is." It felt like someone punched me in the chest. Hard. "But why?" I forced out. She hesitated too long. And that's when the truth slipped out. "Because your sister and we've been talking a lot lately." My entire body froze. "My sister?" My voice cracked. "Yes." She forced a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Your adopted sister. She understands me in ways you don't." The word adopted stabbed deeper than she knew. She wasn't my blood, but she was still my family. My parents raised her like their own. I grew up protecting her, defending her, sharing everything I had. I just never thought I'd have to share her. "Are you saying you like her?" I asked quietly, afraid of my own voice. She didn't answer immediately. She looked down, avoided my eyes, bit her lip. Then finally, she nodded. Not apologetically, not guiltily, but like she had made a choice she felt justified in making. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "But she's better for me." "Better?" My pulse hammered in my ears. "In what way?" I whispered. "She's confident," she said. "Charming. Popular. Everyone notices her when she enters a room. She's bold about what she wants, and she hesitated. "You're too quiet. Too simple. Too unsure." I didn't even know I was shaking until I looked down at my hands. "So that's it," I said after what felt like forever. "You chose her. Over me." Her silence was my answer. I nodded slowly. The air suddenly tasted like metal. "Does she know about this?" I asked quietly. She hesitated. "Yes." She said she didn't want to hurt you. But she also didn't want to lie anymore. My chest felt like it was being crushed. So this wasn't just her decision. My sister, my own adopted sister, had gone behind my back. They had both chosen each other. And rejected me. "I never thought you'd do this," I whispered. But she looked at me with a strange softness, almost pity. "You'll be fine," she said gently. "You're stronger than you think." I wanted to laugh. Or scream. Or break. But instead, I simply asked one last question. Was I never enough? She didn't blink. She didn't look away. She didn't even soften her expression. "Not for me," she said. Those 3 words splintered something inside me that I didn't know could break. I walked away from that bench without looking back. Not because I was strong, but because if I turned around, she would have seen me fall apart. My footsteps echoed down the empty pathway, each one heavier than the last. The night air was cold, but the ice in my chest was colder. When I reached home, things only got worse. My adopted sister was in the living room, scrolling through her phone. She looked up when she heard me. "Oh, hey," she said, acting completely normal. "You're back." I stared at her face, so familiar, so trusted, and suddenly everything inside me twisted. "You knew," I said, my voice low. She froze. "You knew she was going to reject me," I continued, my voice cracking. "And you didn't say anything." She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. "It was you," I whispered. You were the reason. Her lips trembled, guilt flickering across her face. It wasn't supposed to happen like this, she whispered. I didn't want to hurt you. But you did, I said, stepping back. You both did. She looked like she wanted to reach out, but I moved away. I just thought she'd be happier with me, she said softly. I didn't think you'd be this hurt. My heart burned. Of course you didn't, I said. Because it wasn't your heart that got rejected. She lowered her head, unable to meet my eyes. And in that moment, everything about my life felt wrong. My home, my relationships, my trust. Everything I cared about was tangled in betrayal. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I didn't break anything. I simply walked past her, climbed the stairs, and closed my bedroom door behind me. Quietly. So quietly that no one would hear how loud my world had fallen apart. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. Thinking. Replaying every moment. Every sign I missed. Every laugh they shared. Every time they exchanged glances I thought nothing of. And then it hit me. She didn't choose my sister because she loved her more. She chose her because she thought my sister had more to offer. Worth. Popularity. Charm. Attention. Everything I lacked. And for the first time, I realized something painfully true. Sometimes people don't reject you because you're not good. They reject you because they don't see your worth yet. But destiny sees everything. And destiny was already preparing to flip my entire life upside down. Not for revenge. Not for validation. But for transformation. They rejected me that day, but destiny had other plans. Plans that would make them regret every choice they made. And this was only the beginning. People say truth always finds a way to surface. But before truth rises, lies spread like wildfire. And in my case, the lies didn't just spread. They became everyone's reality. The morning after she rejected me, I woke up with eyes swollen from a night I never admitted I cried through. The sunlight slipped through my curtains, too bright, too peaceful for the storm inside my chest. I dragged myself downstairs, hoping to quietly grab breakfast and escape the house before my adopted sister noticed me. But of course, she was already waiting. Sitting at the dining table, pretending to scroll her phone, but her posture was stiff, like she had rehearsed this confrontation. She looked up when I entered. Can we talk? No, I said flatly, grabbing a bottle of water. She stood. Please. Yesterday happened exactly how you wanted it to happen. She flinched at my tone, but didn't deny it. You don't understand, she whispered. I laughed bitterly. No, I understand perfectly. Her eyes glistened, anger, guilt, maybe both. Okay, fine. Hate me if you want. But she wasn't right for you. And you were right for her? I shot back. She looked away. That was the moment I knew the damage went deeper than rejection. Because my sister wanted her. And she got her. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a choice. And I was the sacrificial piece in their game. By the time I reached college, whispers had already started. People paused mid-conversation when I walked by. Some smirked. Some looked at me with pity. And then I heard it. He threatened her, you know. What? Who? Him. The quiet one. Her ex-almost boyfriend, or whatever. A cold shock hit my spine. Another voice chimed in. Yeah, his sister said he gets jealous and obsessive. Poor girl chose the safer option. Obsessive? Jealous? Threatening? My hands clenched. Not because the lies hurt, but because I instantly knew who had planted them. My adopted sister. She had always been good with words, charming, socially magnetic. People believed her easily. But hearing it out loud still felt like a slap across my face. I walked past them, pretending not to care. But inside, a storm was building. The day only got worse. During lunch break, I found her, the girl who rejected me, sitting under the shade of a neem tree with two of her friends. She saw me approaching, and for a moment, guilt flickered across her face. Then her friend leaned in and whispered something, and she stiffened. I stopped a few steps away and spoke calmly. We need to clear something. One of her friends immediately stood like a guard. Don't come near her. I blinked. What? My ex, almost girlfriend, looked down at her hands, avoiding everyone's eyes. Her friends glared at me like I was some villain. She told us everything. One of them snapped. About how you couldn't accept rejection. How you tried to emotionally manipulate her. I stared at the girl I loved, the girl I had defended, trusted, admired, waiting for her to stop this. But she didn't. She just whispered, I just want space. Please. Those 7 words crushed something inside me. Space. No. She wanted distance from the truth. Did my sister tell you that? I asked quietly. Her eyes flickered. That was enough of an answer. I took a step back. Then another. The world suddenly felt too loud, too crowded, too cruel. I left before anyone saw the pain in my eyes. The next blow came during class. A group of guys sat behind me, whispering loudly on purpose. He couldn't handle losing her to his own sister. Imagine how pathetic that feels. I heard he begged her not to leave. Someone like him? Of course he'd beg. I closed my eyes. Inhale. Exhale. Every rumor was sharp. Every sentence carved a new wound. What hurt most wasn't the teasing. It was how quickly people accepted lies. No questions. No hesitation. Lies are easy to believe when the truth is quiet. And I had always been quiet. After classes, I found my friend Ahan waiting near the gate. He was the only one who hadn't believed anything. Bro, he said, walking up to me. I've been looking for you. People are talking nonsense. What happened? I shook my head. Nothing worth explaining. So it's not true? Of course it's not. He breathed out in frustration. Then say something. Defend yourself. What's the point? I said, voice empty. She made her choice. My sister backed it up. Everyone else followed. He looked at me with worry. You're really hurt. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Ahan sighed deeply. You don't deserve this. None of it. And for the first time that day, I felt seen. When I reached home, another surprise waited for me. My parents were sitting in the living room, unusually serious. My adopted sister sat beside them, head lowered, playing the role of the innocent daughter. My father looked up. Sit. I knew this wasn't going to be good. We heard something today, he said slowly. About you. About your behavior at college. I glared at my sister. She didn't look up. My mother continued. Your sister said you've been emotionally unstable since yesterday. That you're lashing out. Causing problems. I stared at them in disbelief. She lied. My sister bit her lip dramatically. I didn't lie. I just want him to be okay. My mother frowned at me. Why would she lie? I laughed, a hollow, broken sound. Why? Because she wanted the girl I loved. Because she wanted the attention. Because for once, people were choosing her over me. But I didn't say that. Instead, I said softly, You believe her, but not me? The silence that followed my question hurt more than any rumor. They didn't answer. They didn't need to. That moment broke something deeper inside me. Deeper than heartbreak, deeper than betrayal. It broke my sense of belonging. I'm done, I said quietly. I'm tired of defending myself for things I didn't do. My sister reached out as if to touch my arm. Don't be dramatic. I jerked away from her. No, I said, voice trembling but steady. You played your part. Enjoy the results. I walked upstairs, every step heavier than the last. That night, I sat on my bed staring at the ceiling. And I finally understood something. People don't need proof to believe lies. They only need a good storyteller. And my sister was a master at storytelling. She twisted the truth so beautifully that even the girl who once trusted me now saw me as a problem. Even my parents questioned me. The truth didn't matter anymore. Her lies had won. For now. But destiny? Destiny watches everything silently. It allows lies to rise. Only so truth can crush them later. They all believed her today. Tomorrow, they would learn who I truly am. And on that day, every lie would crumble. This was only chapter 2 of the story destiny had started writing for me. Some days don't break you all at once. They chip away at you piece by piece, until there's nothing left to hold on to. And then there are days like this one, the kind that shatter everything in one final blow. This was the day I decided to walk away. Not from a relationship, not from a misunderstanding, but from both of them. The girl who rejected me, and the sister who betrayed me. The morning began with a silence so heavy it felt like the walls of my room were pressing down on me. My alarm rang, but I didn't move. There was no rush to get to college, no excitement, no expectation. Only exhaustion, the kind that sits in your bones. When I finally got up, my reflection in the mirror startled me. Dark circles, eyes swollen, expression empty. People say heartbreak shows in the eyes, but betrayal shows everywhere. I got ready, but with no energy to pretend I was okay. As I stepped out of my room, I hoped, prayed, to avoid her. My sister. I didn't want to see her face. Not today. But destiny enjoys repeating pain. She was already waiting on the staircase. Good morning, she said softly, as if we were normal siblings again. I didn't reply. She stepped closer. Please, can we talk? I didn't sleep all night thinking about you. You should have thought before, I said quietly. Not after. Her face tightened. I didn't do anything wrong. I turned toward her. Slowly. Coldly. You didn't do anything wrong? I repeated. You went behind my back. You let her choose you. Then you helped her destroy me with lies. Her lips trembled. I didn't tell them lies. You told them enough. She didn't respond. Because she couldn't. Because she knew the truth already hung between us like a knife. I'm done, I whispered. I'm done with whatever this is. With you. With her. With all of it. She reached for my wrist. Don't say that, she whispered desperately. You're my brother. I stepped away from her touch. Brothers aren't treated like this, I said. You lost that right the moment you chose yourself over me. Her eyes filled with tears, but I didn't stay long enough to watch them fall. I walked past her, down the stairs and out the door. The cold morning air hit me like a slap, but it was the first thing all day that felt real. College was no kinder. The moment I stepped inside the gate, I felt eyes on me. Whispers. Giggles. Stares filled with assumptions. Look, that's him. He must be heartbroken. His sister stole his girl. Imagine the shame. Loser. The words floated around me like poison. I tried ignoring it, but every step felt heavier, every voice sharper. When I reached the corridor, I saw her, the girl who once held my heart without even trying, standing close to my sister, laughing, whispering, looking at her the way she used to look at me. They saw me. Both of them. My sister looked away first. The girl. She looked at me straight in the eyes, but not with guilt. With relief. Like she was glad I was finally out of the picture. That was the moment something inside me died. Not love. Not hope. But attachment. The emotional chain tying me to people who didn't deserve a single piece of me. Ahan found me near the lockers, jaw clenched. Bro, you okay? Don't tell me. I'm leaving, I said. Skipping class. Leaving everything. He stared at me, confused. What do you mean? I'm done with them. With this place. With all of it. I'm tired, Ahan. He stepped closer. I get that you're hurt. No. I cut him off gently. Hurt would have been fine. Hurt heals. But betrayal changes you. He lowered his gaze. He understood. Where will you go? He asked softly. I don't know, I said. But anywhere is better than being surrounded by people who believe lies and ignore truth. Ahan nodded slowly. If you're sure, then I'm with you. I smiled faintly. I'm sure. Those 3 words tasted like freedom. During lunch, something happened that pushed me from walking away, to never returning. I was sitting alone on a bench near the basketball court when a group of guys, the same ones who had mocked me earlier, approached. One of them smirked. Heard you can't handle rejection. Another one added. Your sister didn't even want you around her. Damn. A third laughed. Maybe you should leave her alone. She seems happier without you. My fist clenched. My jaw tightened. But I said nothing. Because they weren't worth a response. But they didn't stop. They pushed my shoulder. Then again. Say something, hero, one sneered. Or are you scared? I stood up. Slowly. And said the most honest words I had spoken all day. Walking away from people like you is the smartest thing I'll ever do. One of them shoved me again. But before I reacted, Ahan appeared between us. That's enough, he snapped. They backed off. Not because of fear, but because they enjoyed the entertainment and were bored now. Losers, one muttered as they walked away. I took a shaky breath. My hands were trembling. Ahan grabbed my shoulder. Are you okay? No, I whispered. I'm not. And if I stay here another day, I'll break. That was it. The final straw. I made my decision. When I reached home, both my parents were in the living room again. My sister sat between them, her eyes red, but she kept pretending she was the victim. My father stood. We need to talk. No, I said. I need to talk. They looked confused. I took a deep breath. I'm leaving. My mother gasped. Leaving? What, why? Because I don't belong here anymore. My sister stood up quickly. Stop being dramatic. You're making everything worse. I looked at her with a calmness I didn't feel. I'm not dramatic, I said. I'm done. My father frowned. You want to leave this house over a girl? No, I said. Over betrayal. A painful silence filled the room. I've always done everything for this family, I continued. I protected her. I supported her. I never treated her like anything less than my real sister. But she didn't think twice before stabbing me in the back. My sister broke down. I didn't stab you. You destroyed me, I said sharply. And worse, you lied about me. Her tears poured, but I wasn't moved anymore. I turned to my parents. I just need space. Time. Distance. Where will you go? My mother whispered. Somewhere I can breathe. My father swallowed. At least let us help. No, I said softly. I need to do this on my own. My sister stepped forward. Please don't go. For the first time in days. I smiled. A sad, tired smile. You lost the right to ask me that. And with those words, I picked up the small backpack I had already prepared in my room, slung it over my shoulder, walked to the door, and stepped outside. No one stopped me. Not this time. The air outside was cold, but it felt fresh. Real. Free. For the first time in months. Maybe years. I wasn't someone's second choice. I wasn't someone's punching bag. I wasn't someone's backup plan. I was just me. And leaving them behind was the first decision I made. For myself. The day I walked away from both of them was the day my story finally began. Walking away felt like the end of everything I knew. But in reality, it was just the beginning. The beginning of the chapter destiny had been waiting to write for me. I didn't go far on the first day. Just far enough that the house, the lies, the whispers, the betrayal, all became distant noises behind me. I spent the night at an old rooftop cafe that stayed open till dawn. It wasn't comfortable, wasn't warm, wasn't home, but it was peaceful, and that was enough. The next morning, the owner, an old man with silver hair and tired eyes, found me sitting with a cold cup of tea. You look lost, he said, placing another cup in front of me. I am, I admitted. He nodded like he understood more than I said. Life breaks us so it can rebuild us. Don't worry, your pieces will fit somewhere better. His words stayed with me, long after I left the cafe. For the next few days, I avoided my house and college entirely. I stayed with Ahan for a bit, though I never told him the full weight of everything inside me. He didn't force me to. Stay as long as you want, he said. No questions. No judgments. For the first time, I felt like I wasn't alone. But even then, something inside me ached. A quiet emptiness. A hollow space left by rejection. And betrayal. Then one night, everything changed. Destiny returned. Not loudly. Not with fireworks. But quietly, like it always does with people who've had enough of noise. It happened at the railway station. I had gone there to clear my head, sitting on a cold metal bench as trains came and went, carrying people to lives filled with possibilities. I watched them with a strange fascination, how easily they moved forward while I felt stuck. And that's when I heard a familiar voice. Soft, careful, almost hesitant. Is that really you? I turned and froze. Standing a few steps away was someone I hadn't seen in years. Ayla, the girl who used to be my childhood friend. The girl who moved abroad without saying goodbye because her family left suddenly. The girl I once thought fate had erased from my life. But she was here, right in front of me. She looked different, older, more refined, carrying herself with the confidence of someone who had been shaped by the world. Yet her eyes were the same. Warm, honest, safe. She took a slow step toward me. It is you. My heart almost forgot how to beat. Ayla? I whispered. Her smile was soft, nostalgic. I can't believe this. After all these years, I found you in a crowd like destiny dropped you right in front of me. Destiny. That word hit me like a pulse. She sat beside me without waiting for permission. You look tired, she said gently. Really tired. I've had a rough few days, I admitted. She studied my face with an understanding that shouldn't have been possible. You look like someone who has been carrying too much alone. Those words, those exact words, felt like someone finally saw what I had been hiding beneath my silence. I didn't respond. Not because I didn't want to, but because I didn't know how. Ayla let out a small sigh. No pressure. You don't have to explain anything. I'm just glad you're here. More than anything, I needed to hear that. We talked for hours. Not about betrayal. Not about heartbreak. Not about lies or rejection or pain. We talked about childhood memories. About the time she pushed me into a pond because she thought I was lying about knowing how to swim. About how I once climbed a tree to get her kite down and fell right after, twisting my ankle. We laughed. And laughing felt strange. Like I had forgotten how to do it. She noticed. You haven't smiled in a long time, have you? She asked softly. No, I admitted. Then it's a good thing destiny sent me back. There it was again. Destiny. That word, that feeling, kept circling around us like a quiet truth. Eventually, her voice softened. Now tell me, who hurt you? I hesitated. Not because I didn't trust her, but because I didn't know where to begin. She placed her hand over mine. Warm, steady, reassuring. Whatever it is, she whispered, you don't have to carry it alone. And just like that, the wall inside me cracked. I told her everything, not in rhythmic details, not in emotional outbursts, just quietly, about the girl who rejected me, about my sister's betrayal, about the lies, about the humiliation, about the day I walked away. Ayla didn't interrupt once. When I finished, she didn't comfort me with fake words. She didn't say it's okay, or you'll heal. No. She said something no one had ever said to me. I'm proud of you. I blinked, confused. Proud? Of what? Of leaving, she said. Of choosing yourself. Do you know how many people stay in places that poison them? You didn't. Her voice had a conviction I hadn't felt from anyone. That wasn't weakness, she added. That was courage. I felt something warm in my chest. A feeling I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Ayla walked me to Ahan's apartment. But before leaving, she stopped. One more thing, she said. I turned to her. I'm not letting you disappear again. Not this time. Not after destiny brought me back to you. My breath caught in my throat. She smiled, a soft, knowing smile. You're not alone anymore. And with that, she left. Or maybe destiny just moved her to the next page of my story. Because I knew this moment wasn't an ending. It was the beginning. Over the next week, something strange happened. Every morning, Ayla would message. Breakfast? You need to eat. Every afternoon. Taking a walk? I'll join. Every evening. If your thoughts get loud, call me. She didn't invade my space. She didn't force closeness. She didn't ask for anything. She simply showed up. Every single day. Not like the girl who rejected me. Not like the sister who betrayed me. She showed up like destiny had taught her exactly how to heal someone broken. Slowly. Quietly. Consistently. And every time she appeared, the pain inside me loosened a little. My nights stopped hurting. My mornings didn't feel heavy. My thoughts became clearer. Ayla didn't fix me. She reminded me I wasn't unfixable. Then one evening, we were sitting on a rooftop watching the sunset. The sky was a blend of gold and purple, the city lights flickering below us. Ayla leaned back on her hands. You know, you deserve more than people who lie about you. I'm learning that, I said. And you deserve more than someone who chooses others over you. A part of me hurt at the reminder, but another part, the part she had quietly rebuilt, was stronger. And you deserve someone who sees your worth without needing to be convinced, she added softly. She turned her face toward me. And one day, you will find someone like that. I met her eyes. Warm. Bright. Filled with something I couldn't name yet. Maybe destiny already brought her, I whispered. Ayla's lips parted slightly. She looked away quickly, trying to hide a blush. But I saw it. And destiny smiled. That was the day I realized something. Not every person who enters your life is meant to stay. Some are lessons. Some are mistakes. Some are endings. But some are returns. Returns you never expected. Returns written long before you understood fate. Returns that change your story without trying. Ayla wasn't just a person from my past. She was the beginning of my future. And destiny didn't just return that day. It made sure I noticed. This wasn't a coincidence. This was chapter 4 of my life. Where the pain faded. Where healing began. Where destiny placed its hand on my shoulder and whispered, your story is not over. It's only starting. 3 years. That's how long it took for the world to flip upside down. 3 years since I walked away from both of them. From the girl I loved who chose my adopted sister over me. And from the sister who broke the meaning of family. 3 years since I left that house carrying nothing but pain, silence, and a promise to never look back. But destiny had been quietly sharpening me. And now it was time for them to see what I had become. 1. The return that no one expected. It was early morning when my car stopped in front of the city's newest tech complex. A 42-floor glass tower with my company's name on it. Raise Innovations Global Summit today. A worldwide event. 40 countries. 40 CEOs. And I was the keynote speaker. The same boy they once rejected. The same boy they called useless, average, and unimportant. I stepped out of the car, dressed in a tailored black suit that fit me like it was carved into me. Reporters swarmed the entrance, lights flashing, microphones pushed forward. People weren't calling me by my name anymore. They called me the young Phoenix CEO, the man who rose from nothing, the genius who built an empire at 23. Funny, these were the same streets where I once walked with my head down, pretending not to hear the whispers. But today they weren't whispering. They were cheering. And somewhere among that crowd, they stood too. Her. And my adopted sister. Too, the look of recognition. And regret. At first, I didn't notice them. But the moment I reached the entrance, the world fell silent inside me. Because standing near the barrier, holding their breaths, eyes locked on me, were the two people who once pushed me away. My heart didn't race. My breathing didn't hitch. Nothing inside me broke anymore. Because the version of me they destroyed was long gone. Instead, I watched the shock hit them like a storm. Their eyes widened. Their lips parted. Their faces went pale. They recognized me. Not as the boy who once begged for truth, but as the man the world now admired. The girl who rejected me looked like she'd seen a ghost. Or maybe she saw the life she could have had. My adopted sister's confidence evaporated. Her smugness was gone. She looked small, smaller than the lies she once built around me. I didn't stop. I didn't slow down. I simply walked past them. But as I did, I finally heard the words they never said when I needed them. Is that really him? Look at him, he's completely changed. What have we done? Regret looks different on people. On them, it looked like defeat. 3. The moment they tried to come back. Inside the hall, I prepared for the summit briefing. But my assistant entered the room, slightly confused. Sir, 2 women outside insist they know you, he said. They want to speak with you. They say it's important. My jaw tightened, but only for a heartbeat. Reject the request, I said calmly. Tell them I don't meet uninvited visitors. He nodded and left. I didn't ask which women. I didn't need to. The past was knocking, but destiny had locked the door. Minutes later, the assistant returned. Sir, they refused to leave. They said they were once close to you. I looked him in the eye. Everyone who was once close to me, I replied, chose to stay behind when I walked forward. This time, he didn't return with any more updates. They must have realized the truth. The boy they rejected no longer existed. The man I became didn't need them. And destiny had never chosen them in the first place. 4. The speech that wasn't for them, but reached them anyway. When I stepped onto the stage, the hall roared with applause. Cameras flashed. Screens lit up. My name echoed through the stadium-sized auditorium. But somewhere in the audience, hidden in the last row, hoping I wouldn't notice, they sat together. They had somehow slipped into the summit. I didn't let it bother me. I just began my speech. I stand here today, I said, voice steady, not as someone who was always supported, but as someone who learned to rise after being pushed down. The audience leaned in. Everything I built, every door I unlocked, every dream I chased. I paused. Came from a moment of rejection. The hall fell utterly silent. Rejection is not the end, I said. It is the beginning of the version of you that destiny had been waiting for. People applauded. Some stood up. But my eyes, unintentionally, found them. The girl who rejected me was crying quietly, her shoulders shaking. My adopted sister stared down at her hands, guilt carving deep lines into her expression. Not because of my success, but because my success proved their betrayal. 5. After the event, the confrontation that changed nothing. When the summit ended, I walked out to my car. Security kept the crowd at a distance. But somehow, they pushed through. They stood in front of me, blocking my path. Not aggressively. Not angrily. Hopelessly. The girl I once loved spoke first. You've changed, she whispered. You're not the same guy I hurt. No, I said softly, I'm not. She swallowed, tears forming again. I'm sorry for everything. I was stupid. I was insecure. You were someone I trusted, I finished. And you made me regret it. She cried harder. My adopted sister stepped forward, voice trembling. I lied because I was jealous, she said. I thought you were the favorite. I thought you'd take everything from me. I didn't think. You didn't think at all, I told her. And I paid the price for your imagination. Both of them stood there, broken, regretful, undone by their own choices. Can we at least talk? The girl asked quietly. Please. Just once. We owe you an apology. I inhaled deeply, then shook my head. You owed me honesty. You owed me loyalty. You owed me the trust one gave you. I stepped around them. And now, I added softly. Now I owe you nothing. They didn't follow. They didn't call my name. They just stood there, watching the man destiny had chosen as he walked away again. This time forever. The night after the summit felt quieter than any night I'd lived in years. No noise. No pressure. No ghosts. Just the city lights flickering like distant memories and the sound of my own breathing, calm, steady, unshaken. For the first time, I wasn't running from anything. For the first time, I wasn't proving anything. I was simply living, as the person destiny shaped me into. But destiny wasn't done yet, because the past I had walked away from was preparing for its final return. 1. The message I didn't expect. It was almost midnight when my phone buzzed. A long message. A number I didn't recognize at first. But the words made it clear who it was. Her. The girl who rejected me. The girl who chose my adopted sister over me. The girl whose choice had rewritten my entire life. Her message wasn't dramatic. It wasn't angry. It wasn't desperate. It was broken. I saw you today. I hardly recognized you. Not because you changed, but because I finally realized who you were all along. Another message followed. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I just want to say I'm sorry for everything I did and everything I believed. I stared at the screen. Not hurt, not angry. Just empty. Because her apology came years too late. Before I could reply, a second message came from another number. My adopted sister. You don't have to forgive me. But I want you to know. I ruined things because I felt replaced. I thought our parents loved you more. I thought I'd lose everything. I didn't lose anything back then. But today, I realized I lost you. Regret. Honest. Raw. Painfully real. But none of it changed where I was standing now. 2. The meeting I chose to have, on my terms. I could have ignored them. I could have blocked them. But something inside me wanted to close the chapter properly. Not for them, but for myself. So the next morning, I sent a location. A quiet cafe overlooking the sunrise. A neutral place. A place where endings felt natural. When I arrived, they were already there. Sitting apart, both restless, both holding on to hope they didn't deserve. As I approached, neither spoke. They just watched. She looked fragile. The girl who once rejected me, now unable to meet my eyes. My adopted sister looked like someone whose lies finally caught up with her. I sat down. No greetings. No small talk. Just truth. 3. You don't have the power to hurt me anymore. The girl I once loved spoke first, voice barely above a whisper. Thank you for coming. I nodded once, saying nothing. She swallowed. I just want to know one thing. Do you hate me? I looked at her. Really looked. No, I said softly. You're not worth hate. Her breath caught. Hate means I'm still holding on to something, I continued. And I'm not. I let go of you a long time ago. A tear fell down her cheek. She didn't wipe it away. I didn't reject you because I didn't care, she whispered. I rejected you because I was insecure. Because I believed her lies. Because I thought you'd leave me one day, so I left first. She looked at me like the confession could save her. But it couldn't. I turned to my adopted sister. And you? I asked softly. What do you want to say? She stared at the table. I destroyed you, she whispered. And for what? Jealousy? Fear? Attention? She looked up, eyes filled with guilt. You were the best brother I could have had. And I ruined it. I ruined everything. Her voice broke. I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to know I regret it every day. Silence settled between us. The kind of silence that holds years of emotion. Then I said the only thing that mattered. You don't have the power to hurt me anymore. Both of them froze. I'm not the boy you broke, I continued. And I'm not the man who wants revenge. They waited, hearts in their throats. I just want peace. 4. The final goodbye. She, the girl who once rejected me, leaned forward slightly. Can we try again? She whispered. Not as lovers, at least as friends? Her voice trembled with hope. But I shook my head. No, I said gently. I don't build friendships on broken trust. A quiet sob escaped her. My adopted sister's voice cracked. Can we at least start over as family? I looked at her. Not with anger, not with love, but with a strange acceptance. I'm not closing the door forever, I said. But I'm not stepping back into the past either. Her tears fell freely now. Take time, I added softly. Heal yourself. Grow. Maybe someday we can talk again. But not today. Not today. Because today, I was choosing myself. I stood up. They didn't try to stop me. They didn't reach out. They didn't chase after me. They just watched. Watched the person they once destroyed become someone they could never reach again. 5. The future that finally belongs to me. As I walked out of the cafe, the sun rose higher, painting the world in gold. A new beginning. A clean slate. A future that didn't have their shadows in it anymore. My driver opened the car door, but I paused and looked at the horizon. I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel victorious. I felt free. Destiny hadn't chosen me because I was special. Destiny had chosen me because I refused to let the past define me. And now, with everything behind me, I whispered to myself, I choose my future, not my past. Then I sat in the car and closed the door. Not on them, not on my story, but on the version of me that no longer existed. The chapter was over, and the life ahead was finally mine to live.